Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of my official rankings videos. I am your host Slasher Scotty, and this episode is all about ranking the characters portrayed by Sarah Paulson in American Horror Story. Before we get into the rankings, this episode of the rankings is brought to you by RAZE Energy. Get a ton of different flavors with zero sugar to keep you going on a long day or night of work. And just because you guys and gals support me, you can use the coupon code slasherscotty at checkout and you will get 15% off of your next order of RAZE and all rep sports products, including t-shirts. Now that we have gotten the sponsorship out of the way, I must tell you all to please subscribe to my channel. You know you want to. Show me some love and subscribe to my YouTube channel, alright? Now don't forget also to hit the bell notification icon to be updated on all things Slasher Scotty. And of course, like the video if you like what you saw, as well as leave a comment of your own personal rankings on the characters that Sarah Paulson portrayed in American Horror Story. So which character that Sarah Paulson portrayed in American Horror Story is the best of the best and the worst of the worst? Well, let's go and find out, but before we do, you know what time it is. That's right, it is time to deliver the ultimate golden rule that this channel has, which is, well, these are my personal opinions. These rankings are my own thoughts, my own rankings, so they may vary from yours. So don't be bashing me in the comment section on how stupid I am for choosing one character that Sarah Paulson portrayed over another. Now how about we go into my other studio where we can start ranking Sarah Paulson's characters. So let's go, alright? I'll see you over there, alright? And I'll see you soon, I can't wait! Woohoo! Woohoo! Yeah! Number 9 is Susan Atkins from American Horror Story Season 7 Cult. Unlike the Evan Peters cult counterparts, there isn't like a million of them to cover, just 2. The first of 2 is making the bottom of this list. And it is, of course, Susan Atkins. She met Charles Manson in 1967 when he was playing guitar at her house. She became one of Manson's most devout followers and partook in the campaign to kill everyone in the house of Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate. She, along with Tex Watson, stabbed Sharon Tate 16 times and would then write "pig" on the house door after the break-in. She's last on the list because she was only in a single episode and wasn't a large part of the storyline regarding the overall theme of cult. So, I mean, wouldn't you agree with me? She deserves to be at the end if you ask me. Number 8 is Ms. Wilhelminia Venable from American Horror Story Season 8 Apocalypse. Prior to the end of the world, Venable worked as the assistant for Jeff and Mutt at Caneros Robotics. Venable eventually quits her job when Jeff and Mutt refuse to tell her more information on the cooperative. They eventually tell her about the cooperative and, well, the apocalypse as well that is bound to happen. And they offer her a position as the warden of Outpost 3, to which she accepts. At some point, Venable sets up her command in Outpost 3. She also sets up her very own rules and eventually poisons everyone with snake venom at a Halloween party, but she and Miriam Mead, a robot that was created by Caneros Robotics, and she is also controlled by the Antichrist, Michael Langdon, and they go to kill Michael, but Michael ends up making Miriam shoot Venable right straight into the chest, thus killing her. And under the new timeline though, after Mallory goes back in time and kills Michael by running him over, it is assumed, not confirmed, but assumed that Venable is alive once again. Ultimately an interesting character, but nowhere near the best of the best that Sarah Paulson has portrayed on American Horror Story, which we're about to get into in a little bit, alright? Number 7 is Audrey Tyndall from American Horror Story Season 6 Roanoke. Audrey portrayed Shelby Miller in the reality show My Roanoke Nightmare. She ends up marrying her fellow co-star, Rory Monahan, and she and her husband are then invited to return to the show's sequel, might return to Roanoke 3 days in hell. They agree to attend as they do not believe that the land is actually inhabited by paranormal beings. Eventually, Audrey is taken hostage by the Polk family, and also eventually she escapes their grasp. But she then bears witness to Lee killing Monet, and Lee then tries to kill Audrey herself. Audrey is then chased outside by Lee, and she ends up getting pushed down the front yard cellar. The next morning, Audrey is found alive by the police, the Popo. When she sees Lee, Audrey tries to shoot her, but is gunned down by the police, killed in the process. Not one of my favorite characters of Sarah Paulson, but a good portrayal. Roanoke was a suspenseful season with a ton of terrifying events and jump scares, which is ultimately why this is one reason Audrey is ranked where she is. Number 6 is Sally McKenna from American Horror Story Season 5 Hotel. In the present day, Sally resides in the Hotel Cortez, taunting Iris and the other guests. In room 64, she works in tandem with the addiction demon to torment the addict Gabriel, promising him that it will end if he just says, "I love you, Sally." To live at the hotel, unbothered by James Patrick March and the demon, Sally must bring him one victim per year to his annual Devil's Night Soiree, where he gathers America's greatest and most evil killers to celebrate their crimes. Sally eventually is left to continue to murder and torment the guests of the hotel, with help from Iris, who provided her access to the internet. And Sally uses the internet to become a blogger and a songwriter. That way she'll never have to feel alone again. She is last seen with Liz and her family when she wants them to kill her, but the Countess comes and she does it herself. This is another character played by Sarah Paulson that I honestly didn't care about. But I think a lot of that has to do with myself not even really being a huge fan of the hotel season to begin with. Number 5 is Billie Dean Howard from American Horror Story Season 1 Murder House, with appearances in Season 5 Hotel and Season 8 Apocalypse. Just like Michael Jackson says, "Billie Dean likes my lover." Some may be surprised that Billie Dean is this high on the list, since she was, in a handful of episodes, but she is a prominent character to the series. She is first seen conducting a seance to contact Addie, and Constance eventually introduces her to Violet Harmon. Billie Dean, or shall I say Billie Jean, tells Constance that a child conceived by a human woman and ghostly father would be the Antichrist and bring the end of times, which ultimately sets up Season 8, which I don't know if they were actually planning on, incorporating this later on in the series. In Hotel, Billie Dean Howard is invited to the Hotel Cortez by Iris to communicate with her friend Liz Taylor's deceased boyfriend, Tristan Duffy. Billie Dean wants to also film an episode of her hit Lifetime show in the Supernatural Hotel. On October 30th, 2022, after 3 television specials are filmed at the Hotel Cortez, Billie Dean tries to communicate with John Lowe's ghost on Devil's Night for her television show, and then joining the serial killer dinner ghosts, without her camera crew, of course. She is threatened to keep her mouth shut by the ghost and Ramona Royale. And then she was sent running from the hotel, screaming, whatever, and she returns in Apocalypse again when she interrupts a spell by Behold Chablis, which was being used to confront the ghosts. She warns him how dangerous it is to attack the ghost in the murder house, as well as letting Madison Montgomery know who is also there. Billie then refuses to give Madison and Behold any information about Michael Langdon, and that's all we really got about Billie Dean. What's my love? I can't help it, that's in my head now. Ultimately not a major player in terms of appearances, but she had a lot to do with regarding the warnings about Apocalypse and setting up some major storylines for seasons to come, starting at the very beginning of the show's tenure. Number 4 is Allie Mayfair-Richards from American Horror Story Season 7, that's right, Cult. The second and last one from Cult, where it is now Sarah Paulson's main role from the series, where she is devastated, and I mean absolutely appalled, that Donald Trump was elected as the President of the United States of America. And she also suffers from resurfacing phobias such as her fear of clowns and also her fear of holes. Her wife, getting fed up with her fears, ends up being part of Kai Anderson's clown cult, and Allie eventually finds out and ends up poisoning her own wife. In the end, Allie overcomes her fears, like all these storylines usually happen with happy endings, not really. And she ends up running for council at her local government. She is almost killed by Kai, but the reporter Beverly Hope shoots Kai dead before he can attack. It is eventually revealed that Allie wins the election, says goodnight to her son Oz, and is now part of a cult of her own titled Scum. I really enjoyed this character of Sarah Paulson's, and the fact that she used her own real-life phobias to make this role work. And it did absolutely wonders with how she played this character. It really was great. And I'm really proud of what Sarah Paulson has added to this character. So kudos to you, Sarah Paulson. Number 3 is Bet and Dot Tattler from American Horror Story Season 4 Freak Show. That's right, you are getting a twofer for this number. Bet and Dot Tattler were discovered wounded by a man named Bill Palmer along with their dead mother, and are brought to a hospital and stabilized. They are then visited by Elsa Mars, played by the iconic Jessica Lange, who convinces them to join her freak show. They are advertised as, well, what do you expect, the spectacular Siamese sisters, and are suspected by the detectives of the murder of their mother, as well as a string of murders that was committed by Twisty the Clown himself. But Jimmy Darling ends up coming to their rescue, and ends up killing the officer in return. Eventually, Dandy Mott, a sociopathic, spoiled, rich man-child, offers $15,000 for the twins, to which is declined, unfortunately. Elsa, jealous of Dot having a better singing voice than herself, sells the twins to the Mott family, and eventually the twins escape. And Elsa will eventually then sell the carnival to Dandy himself, where he ends up killing the performers for not listening to his demands and commands. The only ones left alive are, well, Jimmy Darling, Desiree Dupree, and, you guessed it, the twins, Bet and Dot Tattler. They end up trapping Dandy in a tank and drown him, while watching him drown in the audience, which they're making him the star of the show, like always. Like you always wanted, right? Elsa is on an Halloween special of television where Jimmy and the twins are living together and watching the show, and they are revealed to be pregnant with Jimmy's child. I really, really enjoyed the way Sarah Paulson portrayed two separate beings, two separate characters at the same time. Talk about absolute talent. And the twins deserve to be in the top 3 for sure, especially since these twins are based on a real-life conjoined Siamese twins, which I thought was a super cool fun fact. I mean, come on, you gotta be real. That was super cool if you ask me. Number 2 is Cordelia Good from American Horror Story Season 3 Coven, as well as American Horror Story Season 8 Apocalypse. Cordelia is the daughter of the Witch's Supreme, Fiona Good. She is also married to a guy that is revealed to be a witch hunter. Cordelia is also the head mistress of the academy. She eventually completes the 7 wonders and is the new Supreme after her mother passes away from cancer. She then is seen at the end of Season 3 with Kyle as the new Concierge, as well as Zoe and Queenie at her side, with a bunch of new prospects waiting to join the academy. Then we shift, all the way to Season 8 Apocalypse, where Cordelia notices that Queenie was missing and went to the Hotel Cortez, which was seen in Season 5, and Queenie was killed. And she wanted to save her from this hotel, but she isn't strong enough, but Queenie is rescued, but not by Cordelia. However, she is rescued by the Antichrist himself, Michael Langdon. After the apocalypse and everyone is poisoned by Ms. Venable, the witches arrive and resurrect Coco, Mallory, and Dina Stevens. When Mallory is on the brink of death, she is left with no choice but to face Michael, and she then telekinetically stole the knife from his hands and then confronted him. she stabs herself right into the heart and takes a few steps backwards to fall down the steps. This selfless act of sacrifice immediately gives Mallory the required power to execute, and let me see if I can pronounce this correctly, Tempus Infinitum, and reverse the apocalypse so Mallory can kill a young, powerless Michael Langdon in 2015. Woohoo! The number one spot, that's right, number one on the rankings is Lana Winter's from American Horror Story Season 2 Asylum, as well as an appearance, that's right, a single appearance in Season 6 Roanoke, and did not appear but was mentioned in Season 7 Cult. Lana visits Briarcliff Manor to do a story on the Bloodyface murders. She is pretending the story is on their bakery, and once she's found out to really be undercover to find out about Bloodyface, she is committed to the asylum. She is given all kinds of treatments, including electroshock therapy. It turns out that her doctor, Dr. Thredson, is the real Bloodyface killer, and Lana survives his ultimate, hostage, killing, whatever, and she eventually kills him, but she is also pregnant with his child. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good. Lana does an entire special on her experiences and becomes a famous media reporter, a la Barbara Walters. She does a story at the end where she is confronted by her son years later, where she ends up killing him as he inherited his father's evil genes. She returns briefly in Roanoke to come out of retirement and interview Lee after her experiences at the Roanoke house. She then requested an interview to Allie in Cult, but was denied by Allie because she did not want to relive the trauma from Kai Anderson and his clown cult. Lana is the most iconic character in American Horror Story history, which makes her the number one as a no-brainer. But that's right, we have just counted down the top 9 Sarah Paulson American Horror Story characters. Woo! That is a good feeling. So how about you join me in my other studio, alright? And we'll get down to some business. How do you like the sound of that, baby? Woo! Woo, Billie Jean. Oh, here you are. Thanks everyone for joining me on this rankings video of the Sarah Paulson American Horror Story characters. And if you stuck around this long, please make sure to like this video and comment on your rankings and if they differ from mine. I'm sure they do. We're different people after all, and if they do, tell me the order that you selected and why you chose them to be placed in that order. And of course, show me some love. You know how you can do that. You know how you can do it, people. You know how you can do it. Simple. Just slap that subscribe button. Show some love. And of course, you want to hit the bell notification icon. You know why. Do I have to tell you? Well, I will anyways. Keep updated on all my videos that I upload, from interviews with celebrity guests to rankings videos that you are watching, like the one you're watching right now, top 10 videos, and anything else such as the body count and anything else I desire, because my heart is all for slashers. But that's all, I guess. I think we have finished this video. It was actually really fun. I enjoyed this. So thanks everyone for watching yet another rankings video. But before I sign off and let you all roam into cyberspace, I just want to tell you that unlike Allie from Season 7 Cult, I'm actually feeling pretty good about myself. I've been getting some therapy, some much needed therapy, so that way I don't have to steal your souls, cut my arm, or shoot you all with my gun. What? You don't believe me? How can you not believe me? Oh my god, I am getting back some major PTSD. Don't you hear them? Don't you hear them? Don't you hear the voices? Listen, listen closely, listen closely, listen, 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 listen. No, 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 get out, get out, get out of my head, get out of my head, stop it!